Do you ever feel like you're not good enough? Like you're a fraud, and that everyone is going to find out eventually? If so, you're not alone. Imposter syndrome is a common experience, affecting as many as 70% of people at some point in their lives. But imposter syndrome doesn't have to hold you back. In this video, we'll walk you through a step-by-step guide to overcoming imposter syndrome using the book Own Your Greatness by Dr. Lisa Orbé-Austin and Dr. Richard Orbé-Austin. We'll help you go step by step through a tried and true method to eliminate self-doubt and become more confident and fulfilled. The first step to overcoming imposter syndrome is to understand where it came from. For many people, imposter syndrome stems from their childhood. Maybe you were raised with high expectations, or you were constantly compared to others. Maybe you were told that you weren't good enough, or that you would never amount to anything. What stories did you come to believe about yourself? How did they affect your role in your family, your ideas about competition, or how you received feedback? In the book, one example comes from a woman called Elizabeth. Her imposter origin story comes from her parents comparing her and her brother. She was always called sensitive, never seen as the smart one, and the poor comparisons with her brother led to a high need to please others and dismiss the skills that she does have because she assumed they wouldn't be valued. Women more often experience imposter syndrome. It is likely due to the way smarter and more assertive girls are treated relative to boys. In order to shake your self-doubt, you have to shake off this learned narrative. Whatever the case may be, your imposter origin story is the foundation of your imposter syndrome. Once you understand where it came from, you can start to challenge it. Once you've identified your imposter origin story, you need to figure out what triggers your imposter feelings. For some people, it might be public speaking. For others, it might be giving presentations, meeting new people, receiving compliments, or starting a new project. Consider all the recent times you can remember feeling like an imposter. Take some time to examine the situation. Where were you, who you were with, and what was said to you, and how did you react? Once you know your triggers, you can start to prepare for them. This might mean practicing your presentation, rehearsing your introductions, or taking deep breaths before you meet someone new. The next step is to change your narrative. Your imposter narrative is the story that you tell yourself about why you're not good enough. It's the story that keeps you feeling like a fraud. The one thing about your imposter story is that it is distorted. It's simplistic, one-dimensional, and leaves a lot of information out. In other words, it's thin. Your narrative leaves out a lot. In reality, things are more complex. The good news is that you can change your narrative. You can start by challenging the negative thoughts that you have about yourself. You can also start to focus on your strengths and accomplishments. Another important step to overcoming imposter syndrome is to speak your truth. This means sharing your experience with others. It means telling people how you feel and what you're going through. Tell 2 trusted people about your experience and ask them to give their experiences. You'll often find a lot in common. Remember also to own your skills and achievements. When you speak your truth, you start to break the silence around imposter syndrome. You also start to connect with others who have been through the same thing. ANTs, or automatic negative thoughts, are the little thoughts that pop into your head and tell you that you're not good enough. These thoughts can be very destructive, and they can keep you feeling like a fraud. The thoughts come in several categories, including mind reading. They must all think I'm incompetent. Labeling. I'm so stupid I can't believe I did that. Fortune telling. There's no way this will work out. Catastrophizing. They're going to fire me if I make a mistake. Unfair comparisons. Everyone here is so accomplished compared to me. All or nothing. It's not perfect, so it's a failure. And discounting positives. That compliment isn't genuine. They were just being nice. The good news is that you can silence your ANTs. Here are some tips. Challenge your ANTs. When you have one of these thoughts, ask yourself if it's really true. Is there any evidence to support this thought? Is it possible that you're being too hard on yourself? Focus on the positive. When you're feeling down, take some time to focus on your strengths and accomplishments. What are you good at and what have you achieved? Use visualization and affirmations. Visualize yourself succeeding in a situation that you're typically anxious about. You can also repeat positive affirmations to yourself, such as I am capable or I am good enough. Once you have begun silencing your ANTs, you should practice other methods to overcome your imposter syndrome. For example, stepping outside of your comfort zone and trying things that you've never done before. For example, if you're typically the helper, try asking for help yourself. Or if you're always the one taking the leadership role, try delegating more tasks to others. Experimenting with new roles like this can help you break out of your old patterns and build your confidence. You cannot know what other people will do for you unless you ask. Finally, it's important to build a dream team of people who can support you in your journey. This team should include people who believe in you and who can offer you encouragement and advice. Your dream team could include friends, family, colleagues, or even a therapist or coach. Having a strong support system can make a big difference in your ability to overcome imposter syndrome. Overcoming imposter syndrome is not easy, but it is possible. By following these steps, you can start to change your narrative, silence your ANTs, and own your greatness. Here are some additional tips for overcoming imposter syndrome. Be kind to yourself. It's easy to be hard on yourself when you're feeling like an imposter, but remember, everyone makes mistakes, so be patient with yourself and give yourself time to learn and grow. Seek support. Talking to a therapist or counselor can be helpful if you're struggling with imposter syndrome. They can help you understand your experience, and they can teach you coping mechanisms. Prioritize self-care. It's important to take care of yourself both physically and mentally. Get enough sleep, eat healthy food, drink water, and exercise regularly. Be patient with yourself. It takes time to overcome imposter syndrome. Don't get discouraged if you don't see results immediately. Just keep working at it, and you'll eventually reach your goal. Celebrate your success. When you achieve something, take the time to celebrate your success. This will help you build your confidence, and it will remind you that you are capable. By following these steps, you can start to change your narrative and build your confidence. Remember, you're not alone. Imposter syndrome is a common experience, but it doesn't have to hold you back.
MA